Now, what, you may ask, has a local authority-run market got to do with the Office of the United Nations High Commission for Human Rights? Well, in the case of the Seven Sisters area of North London, quite a lot. The Latin American community there objected to the proposed bulldozing of their market stalls and developed proposals of homes, and their phone-a-friend option was, surprisingly, the United Nations. And the intervention has its own repercussions. The market in North London is indeed a bustling slice of Latino life that has unexpectedly caught the UN's interest.
Hola! How are you, my love? My name is Vicky Alvarez. I do have two businesses in here. One is a money transfer business, and the other one is a hairdresser, like a beauty salon. We have this vibrant market full of people, full of energy, full of passion, full of love. We got the butcher. The meat is imported from Argentina, so we have the best meat in town. We have small shops that you can purchase everything that you need from your country. To the legal advice, we have all these kind of services in the market.
A place so important to the local community, say the United Nations, that the threat to its future, posed by a council regeneration scheme, jeopardizes their human rights.
We like the market because it's big, and I get to meet new friends. Save the market!
Sentiments that echo around this market, where the battle to halt gentrification has rumbled on for the best part of a decade.
It's been this amazing campaign that has just kept going and kept going and kept going. We've been to the High Court 3 times.
There is a lot of communities that feel very lonely and very isolated and unwanted. But they just come here because they just want to live. And this is what is important about the market.
But developers and the council say their plans for this corner of North London are long overdue. They promise to rejuvenate the area with modern shops, generating millions of pounds worth of spending and hundreds of new jobs. There'll be 196 new homes, although there will be no affordable housing on this site. Purpose-built space for the indoor market is promised, which they say will preserve its vibrancy long after regeneration. But as building work is carried out, market traders will have to temporarily relocate. Haringey Council told us traders will get
a generous package of support offering free relocation to both the temporary and new markets, subsidised rents, business support and advice to maximise the number of current traders who will relocate into the new market.
But traders fear the move, along with the possibility of rising rents, could put them out of business.
So they're going to move us to the place that we can see has been boarded up. When you see that, you see, well, it's not much of the disruption because you're going to move just across the road, but actually there is. We are in a prime location. We're going to be deprived of that prime location. We have spent money, so much time over the past 15 years to letting people know that we are here.
Their objections forced the council to hold a planning inquiry. Barrister Monica Ferreira-Tinta, herself of Latin American descent, represented the market traders.
This is not just a planning case. This is a planning case that is affecting human lives, livelihoods, and therefore human rights are central. And we have jurisprudence that goes back to many years that consistently has said that when you interpret the law of the land, you have to do that in a consistent manner with international obligations.
She argues that such obligations extend to people like market trader Marta Giraldo, protecting her right to participate in economic life.
Me and my husband always wanted to set up a business, so I wouldn't have to clean. It's helped with my self-esteem and helped my social life. It's worked out really well for me economically as well.
A lot of people might not be able to afford to go to the theatre or do other activities. But this place is very important for people to enjoy their culture and access their culture. Now the United Nations are starting to see that with gentrification, it threatens cultural life. Muchísimas gracias.
The verdict on the market's fate is expected in February, and Monica Ferreira-Tinta believes it could force a radical rethink in how we approach regeneration and gentrification.
What is the symbolic effect of this and what this case may change? And it may actually lead to local authorities and even the UK to rethink about policies and what has been happening in London with planning. So planning is not anymore a self-contained regime that has nothing to do with human rights. This is what we are saying.
Those who call this place home are hanging everything on this remarkable legal ploy paying off.
We created this market, and it's like it's a big bereavement. Even to think about it made me cry, because we just give form to this, and it's like it's losing an important part of you.
Well, earlier I spoke to Surya Deva at the United Nations in Geneva. He considered the impact of regeneration on the human rights of people around the market. And I began by asking him why a market in North London should be the UN's business at all.
Yes, I mean, UN considers human rights in a very broad sense, and all issues about civil, political, social, economic, and cultural rights are the focus of the UN bodies. And we, as the independent human rights experts, have the express jurisdiction given by the Human Rights Council to consider those particular issues.
Will the UN then look at this, what is really, for many, a crisis in Western cities, which is the population being removed from their homes to make way for richer people to go and live in those areas instead?
I think this is an issue which is not merely about developed cities. It is an issue which has global implications, the displacement of people from their property and land. So we, as part of the UN experts, we have received and we receive frequent allegations about different countries, different companies involved, where there are allegations that the forced displacement has taken place, communities were not adequately consulted. So there are these common concerns about these displacements, and that could arise in the context of a city like London, or it could arise in the context of a remote part somewhere where there could be a mining project on a piece of land.
So in a sense, the authorities need to be aware that the UN Human Rights Commission is interested in more than torture, famine, and the other things which threaten people's human rights. They're actually pretty interested in what happens in developed countries, in developed cities.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the situation of human rights is not perfect anywhere, and no country can claim, in my view, that it has a perfect record on human rights. So these are issues that are live almost globally, and whenever we or other mandate holders of the UN receive these allegations, we try our best to help.
Finally, I still argue that if this case is won on these grounds, it will be an extraordinarily strong weapon for communities who are threatened by developers.
It's not about winning the case, because we are not a court of law. No one wins a case before the UN bodies like us. We will make some recommendations if needed in appropriate cases, and we submit reports and send communications. So that's how we deal with it. And hopefully the relevant authorities, including affected communities, will get some positive value out of this process.
Surya Deva, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.